do it. I'm Charlie Simons, backstage. It's the Reawaken America tour happening right now in Tulare, California. And this is GERALD PECHENUK. I know Gerald because I've had his wife on the show several times. And he's always been a behind-the-scenes guy. Living in Oakland, California, Alameda County, and is watching, helping and supporting his wife, running for office, and all that goes with that. And then something just happened recently. What did you decide to do?
What happened is I threw my hat in the ring to run for the county supervisor in Alameda County, which is Oakland, Berkeley, people of the ultra-liberal stripe, ultra insane.
It is insane.
And what happened is the incumbent, who'd been there for 30 years, after the deadline this past Friday, where he was the only one filed to run, he dropped out. Keith Carson, 5th District, Alameda County, dropped out. The next day, Saturday, I got a call from the group that Mindy and I work with called the Election Integrity Team of Alameda County, and they said, we want you to run because this is a wide open situation and it fits perfectly with what Mindy and I have been doing, which is bringing the non-traditional Republicans, that is African Americans, Hispanic, other people who we need in
it's not like they've been excluded. You say non-traditional Republicans. I kind of take issue with that because I'm like, it's not like they were ever told you can't come in. They have chosen to align themselves for the most part with the party of lies and death on the left, and have promoted it for whatever their little sordid reasons are. The Republicans have always said, we got a better way. And you already are aligned with us, many of you religiously. You already vote pro-life. You already believe in the sanctity of marriage. You already believe in all these things. Why are you voting for people on the left who are hell-bent to destroy every single one of those things? I've never understood it. You call them non-traditional Republicans. I've never heard it put that way. Very good.
Okay. I will answer your question.
Well, it's not really. Here's the question. Okay, I'll actually give you one because I get it. A lot of people say, well, it's because we've never reached out.
Okay, it's somewhere between the two things you said, and I would put it this way: there's many a slip between cup and lip. Okay, because the fact that you're correct, many of the African Americans are traditional Christian moral people, but the gap between that and actually taking the step of sort of rebelling or going against the grain of your neighbors, your friends, your daddy, your granddaddy's granddaddy, of traditionally we do things this way, to be able to step out of that in a way without getting your head, leg, or nuts chopped off is not an objective question of, well, we have the right words on the piece of paper that says we got the right platform that you agree with 9/10 of it. It's more like, how do you actually work as a human being with another human being to connect and to have empathy and to have love, to actually care for your fellow human beings. Mm-hmm. That's what I've noticed in the Trump circles, in the MAGA movement. There's really a great empathy in Trump personally. He actually loves all people, and you can see it.
Oh, yeah,
you can't. That's why DeSantis and these other people, they're so robotic and phony. They couldn't. What do you want to, deal with a geek, or a human being?
I was pretty proud of DeSantis when he took on Governor Hairdo in that ridiculous debate with Sean Hannity on Fox News. I thought he did a pretty good job. He didn't look all that robotic there. He did well.
Yeah.
But I get the point.
Yeah.
I do get the point.
Well, here's the point. That was a little setup because...
If there has to be a second choice, for me it's going to be DeSantis.
Yeah. Well, this hairdo head...
Governor Hairdo.
Yeah, Pelosi's nephew.
Yeah.
his parents, his wife's parents, the Seibels.
We're getting attacked by a left-wing fly, by the way.
Right.
It's trying to
What
destroy
are you
us.
going to do with these? You just can't
Democrat
deal with
fly.
them. You know, they get attracted to doo-doo. What are you going to do? Yeah. So DeSantis, hairdo heads, Seibel, the in-laws, have been supporting DeSantis with money. So that was the connection to try to create a three-ring circus to get some attention.
You know, I've been asking. That's the biggest problem I have with Ron, because he's done such an extraordinary job as governor of Florida. I like what he says. And he's turned right around and he's actually done things other than just talking about it. He's done it. But it's puzzled me why. Because it's my understanding there was actually a handshake deal done. He was going to be the VP choice for Trump. And then he did this. Then he announced that he was actually running. And that was a slap in the face to Donald Trump, who did so much to help him get elected in Florida. The only reason why he's governor there. Really, it's because of Donald Trump.
Well, to people like Trump and people of maybe our generation, loyalty means something.
Well, yeah.
Being true to your word.
But see, that makes sense, because I never heard anybody say that about the money that's come from the San Francisco family.
The San Francisco, there's a lot of Bushy money flying around. Bushy money. There's Ken Griffin from the big hedge fund, Tower Hedge Fund, that were, he actually left Chicago and went to Florida, and he was the main money bags, for DeSantis, Ken Griffin from hedge funds.
This is wow. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the things that Mindy and I are trained to look at, because we work with Lyndon LaRouche for years, and we always said, don't mess with us if you got something you're trying to hide, because we'll find out and we'll put it out. And that's, I think, what you specialize in, is trying to bring things to the surface that people ordinarily would not get.
I live my life by Ephesians 5:11. Be no part of the works of darkness, but instead even expose them.
Yeah, and put on the whole armor of God. Yeah. You can't be half-assed about this. Right. You're in a war.
Right.
You can pretend you're not in a war.
Right.
You can pretend that, gee, if I only say nice things and don't try to fight the enemy,
right,
then everything's going to be okay. No, it ain't. You got to get out there. You got to have compassion. You got to love people, and you got to want to see a better way of life. When I was 12 years old, my parents are always fighting, and I just got the feeling one day, everyone actually agrees with each other. They just don't know it. They just don't know it. And somehow there was something in me when I was 12.
That was kind of my earlier point, with all these people who align themselves with a party that goes against every single thing they're supposed to believe in.
Right. So my job, because it's up to each of us individually to say, what am I going to do about that? If I recognize that, then I have to take personal responsibility and go beyond just the normal day-to-day. I got my job, I did my job, what do you want from me? You're asking me to go out of my way? Yes, because the nation is at stake. And I guess what? Civilization is at stake. And that's really the story, Charlie. We're in San Francisco, Oakland. There's people dying of fentanyl still at record rates. No matter all the money they've thrown at it, they haven't done diddly squat about stopping it. So to stop it, you got to go after the banks. You got to go after the money laundering. You got to go after the people in the pinstripe suits who are really behind the drugs, because otherwise it couldn't function. That's what we know for a fact. Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, they should have been locked up and thrown away a long time ago, but they're still operating, getting bailed out, and all this other baloney.
This is not in line with your race for the County Board of Supervisors in Alameda, but this has been fascinating.
But guess what?
And I want to have you on again.
I want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
In University of California, Berkeley, they appointed a new police chief recently. And the woman who was appointed police chief with the help of Nancy Pelosi is the woman who's responsible for what happened January 6th in Washington, D.C. Yogananda Pittman. She was the assistant chief to Chief Sund. She gave false briefings that there was no problems anticipated. Remember, Trump had called for 10,000 National Guards to be available.
He did, yes.
And Yogananda Pittman was the submarine for Pelosi to make sure when Chief Sund had called for those guards to be deployed, it didn't happen. And Nancy Pelosi has never answered for this. She has never given testimony as to her role in January 6th, which just yesterday, Congressman Clay Higgins said there was 200 feds involved, 200 in the provocation, and they also had been online previous to January 6th doing the Ray Epps thing, actually advocating for violence and get in there and we'll show them. So it was actually a Fedsurrection, and that's really key to busting up the attack against Trump, is to liberate the January 6th truth. And so Berkeley is where this lady got a plum job to keep her mouth shut, Yogananda Pittman. So my district of county supervisor includes Berkeley. So I'm going to be having a good time, scorching Yogananda Pittman's butt,
awesome. Good.
As part of this.
Good.
So it does, even though it's a, quote, local office, you can bring this bigger picture where Mindy's running for state assembly.
How do we help you? How do we find you?
How do you find me? Find Mindy, and you'll find me.
No, as running
I don't.
for
I just got on. I haven't started.
Seriously.
Wednesday.
I don't have a website, a no side, a left side, a right side. But if you want me back, I'll be happy to come back, and I'll have all that.
Thank you so
stuff
much.
Going. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Charlie.
I'm Charlie Simons.
Keep up your great work, Charlie.
I appreciate that very
we
much.
just love you like a brother.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Backstage at the Reawaken America tour.